Joining us today for Primetime Local News is classic meteorologist with Global News, Peter Quinlan. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today, Peter.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Shelby.
Of course, no problem, because we were just speaking on this, that how we spoke before, as the winter season was, we were kind of in the peak of it. We were speaking
hmm
on a polar vortex and how we could possibly expect some of those conditions to reach us a bit more in, January, February, a little bit more into March. So now that we are here, do you think that we've been through the worst of it and things are starting to warm up?
Yes, I think we have been through by far the worst of it in Lloydminster. Actually, December was way below average. January as well, quite a bit below average, not quite as much as December was. And then things leveled out a little bit in February. We were just about a degree colder than normal. March has been colder than average, but usually we see a warm up in March, so it may have been feeling a little bit milder. But usually the second half of March is a lot warmer. So we're through the worst of it in terms of the cold conditions. We just haven't seen much moisture out there this winter, so it's not good news heading into the growing season.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say for previous winter seasons, we were kind of speaking on this, of course, with the polar vortex talk and whatnot. But with seeing these conditions kind of warm up, would you say that we've probably seen the coolest winter season in quite a while in previous years, or has it been, actually quite warm?
It has been a cooler than average winter, and actually we've had a La Nina pattern, which is typically a colder than normal winter in the Lloydminster area for the past 3 winters now. So we've kind of been with this trend for the last little while. Definitely December, January, way colder than average. We have had some colder than average months over the past few years, though. So it is fairly close to what we've seen over the last few winters. In terms of extreme cold days where we see those extreme cold warnings, it hasn't been as bad as we've seen over previous years.
And for what's coming up here with, like, you said the second half of March, usually we see some things warm up quite a bit as we head more into April and whatnot. So do you think we could expect to see some plus temperatures starting to make their way?
Yeah, it does look like we will see those positive temperatures, possibly even by the end of this first week of spring. So there is things to look forward to. It'll be just above the freezing mark, but that's going to be enough to start that snowpack melt. And we do measure temperatures about 2 meters in the air. So sometimes near the ground, when it's even -3 or -4, up 2 meters in the air, near the ground, it's actually above freezing. And sometimes those darker pavement surfaces does really accelerate that melt. So you can look forward to more melting, maybe clear those drains away, clear the drains away, clear the snow away from your drains. Don't clear the drains. You might get in trouble for that as we get into this melt so we don't see as much ice in the mornings.
And I know there's been lots of talk, if you even speak about weather conditions or how it looks outside with people around, they are saying this winter season has just been so, like, such fluctuating temperatures. Why would you say that has been happening for this year?
Yeah, so we've been seeing a pull of the jet stream further north and then further south. We're actually moving out of this La Nina pattern and we're moving into potentially El Nino pattern, which means next winter could be warmer than average. It could also be drier than normal. And we also could be in for a pretty hot summer. That's what the seasonal forecast models are indicating. So we're starting to nudge toward that. So that kind of has climate implications around the world. And that's also why we're starting to see this kind of yo-yo effect in terms of those temperatures.
Yeah, so what you're saying is for kind of ending off March, going into April and maybe even May, we will be seeing those plus temperatures, hopefully
Mhm.
get some more moisture, but we can expect it to warm up quite a bit.
Yes, exactly. So lots to look forward to. If you like the heat, this could be a good summer for you.
Awesome. I know I like the heat, but I know there is people out there that aren't a big fan of it. I
Mhm.
definitely like it compared to winter season. So that's really
Yeah.
good to hear. I'm glad we're able to check in. Is there anything else you want to add, Peter, that I may have missed out on?
I think that pretty much covers it. Just watch the moisture levels in the soil. We only had around 14% of the normal moisture we would see throughout meteorological winter. So that's not what we really want to see heading into the growing season, especially as we forecast a drier than normal summer. So that'll be something we're watching on the horizon.
All right, perfect, perfect. Well, it's always really nice speaking with you, Peter, and getting a nice catch up and seeing what's ahead for us. But I'm glad to see that we got some good news ahead for everybody that
Mhm.
likes the heat. So once
Yes.
again, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Shelby.